says, consider a boat with scrap iron in the swimming pool. If the iron is thrown overboard into the pool, will the water level at the edge of the pool rise, fall, or remain the same? Here it is here. Here's the water level at the edge of the pool. It's right here. Right? It's right here. Right? Now, it says scrap iron, correct? It says scrap iron. Is the boat floating? Is the boat floating? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, what's the main ingredient inside the boat if it's empty? What's the main ingredient? What's the main ingredient inside the boat when the boat is empty? Starts with an A, ends with an R, there's an I in there. It's air, correct? Yes? So, as I put iron in this boat, it's going to displace the boat that's mainly filled with air, correct? Yes? The iron is very dense. Very dense. 7 to 8 times denser than water. Now, I have this, right? So now I'm putting it down here. What's going to happen? Here's the iron down here. I'm not going to draw in the level of water. But what's it going to look like? What's it going to look like? Is it going to drop the level of water? Is the water going to be down here? Is it going to be up here higher? Let's make this a little higher in case we decide that's the best answer. What's going to happen? Water's going to go higher. If I take this iron ore and take it out of the boat, right? Is that what you're saying? I can't hear you, dude. Yeah, I still can't hear. He's like, come up here, dude. Come on up here, just right here, and tell me what you think.
So basically, when we have the iron in the water, because it's dense, as it goes down, the water level goes up. But when you take the iron goes out of the water level goes down. Basically, just like saying.
So if I take this iron out of the boat and put it on the bottom of the pool, the water level is going to go up?
The water, yeah, it's going to go up.
All right. He says the water level is going to go up. Let's look at it this way, okay? Now let's look at it this way. Let's say that it's a small amount of iron. Okay? Let's say it's a small amount of iron. Let's say that we have this boat, and I have that is keeping the water, keeping the boat, okay? Yes? So the water level's right here, okay? Now remember, that iron is over 7 times denser than water. So it has a very small volume, doesn't it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay? All right. Let's say we take that out and we put it on the bottom of the pool. What's going to happen to the level of the water? Is the ship going to rise? If I take that iron out of the ship, is the boat going to rise or fall? It's going to rise, right? So less material, right, is going to be displaced. Would you say that's true?
Yes, that's true.
Okay? So what's going to happen to the level of the water? It's going to go down or up? It's going to go down, yeah. So let's say, like this. Yeah. Remember, this is very dense. Correct? Very dense. Still floating. So the amount of fluid, the volume of fluid, the weight of the volume of fluid that this ship displaces is equal to the ship, the iron, the whole thing, right? Correct? Yes or no?
Yeah.
What's greater? What's greater? The mass of the iron or the mass of the ship and the iron?
The mass of the ship and the iron.
The mass of the ship and the iron. So what has a greater volume? The mass of the ship and the iron or the mass of the iron?
The mass of the ship and the iron.
What has a greater weight? What has a greater weight? The weight of the ship and the iron or just the weight of the iron? The ship and the iron. What's going to have a greater volume? The weight of the ship or the ship plus the iron? What's going to have a greater volume? The ship or the ship and the iron?
Ship and the iron. Ship and the iron. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the ship.
All right, let me go through this again. You're still not thinking in terms of buoyant force. Listen carefully. What has a greater weight? The iron or the ship and the iron? The ship and the iron. Therefore, what's going to have a greater fluid displacement? The iron or the ship and the iron? Okay, so if I take the iron out, does the ship have any reason to displace? No. All right. If I take the iron out, correct, and I put it on the bottom of the pool, does the ship have as much weight as it did when the iron were in it? No. Therefore, would it have a greater displacement or less displacement after I take the iron out? It would have less displacement, correct? Why is the water level rising? I take this ship and iron and I put it in the water. What happens if I take this iron and ship out, the iron and the ship completely out of the pool? What happens? The water will go down. Very good, good. Now, what's causing the most displacement? The iron or the ship and the iron? Okay, good. Now, if I take the iron and put it at the bottom of the pool, is it very dense? Yes. That weight, that mass, that density of the iron is 7 times greater. Let's say the density of iron is 7 to 1. 7 grams per cubic centimeter, correct? Right? So, is this iron going to displace much water? No, it's not. It's not going to displace the water. Remember, there's air in that boat as well as the iron, isn't there? Right? What's causing the total displacement of water from that ship? The weight of the ship? The ship of the iron, right? If I take the iron out, there's only air left in there, correct? So it's going to float to the top. What's going to happen to the water level in that tank? Is it going to rise or fall? Is it going to rise or fall? In other words, if I go like this, here's the iron at the bottom of the pool. Dense, 7 times denser than water, maybe 8. Okay? Where's the water level going to go? Down here or up here? A or B? Yeah, it's going to go B. Very good. It's going to be here. Remember, the iron is dense. The iron is dense. What's going to displace more water? That's a kilogram of iron. That's a kilogram of aluminum. What's going to displace more water? The aluminum. Density of aluminum is 2.7. This is 2. Let's say that this is a kilogram of aluminum. If this is a kilogram of iron and this is a kilogram of aluminum, what's a kilogram of water? It would probably be this, right? What's going to displace more water? This. This would. It would float, fair enough. But this would, right? So if I take the iron out of the boat and put it on the bottom, the boat's going to go to the surface and the water level is going to come down, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Let's just go back and just to reaffirm this. If I had something very dense, okay? If I had something very dense, let's say I sort of did it before. Let's say I have this, and I have my boat, right? Let's do it like this. Let's make this like this. And I put something very dense. Gold, right? Yes? I take this gold and I put it here. Instead, I get it out of the boat. What's going to happen to the boat?
To raise.
It's going to rise, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's going to happen to the level of the water? It'll lower, it'll go down. It'll be here. And here's my boat. Right? Water level, if I take the denser material out of the boat and put it on the bottom, the iron, the gold, whatever, is going to be denser and will displace less fluid, correct? Starting to get this?